Okay, now we are done with the basics of HTML as well as CSS. We came to know what is HTML, what is CSS, how to use it, where to use it, and why to use it as well. Okay, so now with the help of the HTML and CSS, we are going to create or develop a simple website with almost covering all the tags which we have learned now. Okay, so we'll make use of the tags which we have studied, and we'll create a simple and a presentable website which will have an icon, uh, a logo, a navigation bar, and hover effects, footer, header, everything. Okay, we'll try to cover almost everything that we have studied. Okay, with the help of that we will create a website. Okay, for that first and in this I will even tell you some of the tips on developing standards, that as a developer you should always follow some rules to develop or code the content. Okay, so for that first let's start with the main page. So always do remember the home page should always have the name index.html. Okay, so this is a basic standards for developing. Okay, so please try to follow these rules as much as possible, so this will even give a good impression. Okay, so always start with the index.html as your home page. Okay, and doc type tag should always be there in HTML. So this is the basic body of our HTML file, right? So in this we are going to code and make the website more very beautiful. Okay, and with the help of CSS. So always do remember, before going for this, as I told you, the first rule is the home page should always be in the index.html, and always try to create folders for your external CSS as well as images. As it's a website, each and every website will have at least 2 to 3 images, right? So always save your images inside the image folder. So when you link it, you can easily link it. Okay, so there's no need of collapse or something like that. So all the images which you are going to use in the website should always be in a image folder. Okay, so the next is have a CSS folder too. So I have taught you about three styling properties: inline, internal, and external, right? So for storing those external CSS files, you should always save them inside the CSS folder. So as I have told you, these are the basic developing standards. Okay, so with this doing these or following these standards, it will be really easy to read when another developer is trying to read your content or trying to go through your content. It will be really very easy. Or else if you are just adding every image in the same folder or in the same path as well as the CSS, index.html, everything, then it may be a bit clumsy for the one who's going to go through it. Okay, so always make the work easy. Okay, always the work which is easy will be really very presentable. So always start with the index.html as your home page, then create an image folder. CSS, if you are using JavaScript, then even create a JS folder. So always have separate folders for separate content. So this is a start. So now we are going to create a website which will have a logo, icon, header, footer, navigation, and each and every basic things. Okay, so for that I have already created these things. Now let's go inside it and let's start with it. Okay, so this is a basic body of our HTML file. Okay, as I have told you, always save the file with index.html. More than the programming standard, always the browser search for the index.html because it considers index.html as the main file. Okay, so always save it in index.html. So I'm going to now, this is a very simple or very plain output, right? So I'm going to create a website now. So for that, first we'll give some title for our website. So let's write it at website tutorials. Okay, so now let's run this. So we got that, right? Website tutorials. Okay, so now even let's give some icon for this first, so that our first part will be complete. Okay, so for that I will write link. Okay, I'll make use of the link tag. Inside the rel I will write icon, and inside the type I will write image. Okay, and in the href I've already told you to create a folder of name image, right? So even I have that folder, and inside that image I already have logo. Okay, so for the icon I'm going to make use of the log.png, and for the logo which we are going to give inside the website I'm going to make use of the logo.png. The difference is in their dimension. Okay, so we'll make use of the log.png. So for that, see, our HTML is in the demo website, right? Inside the demo website file folder, and our image is inside the image folder. So you will just give a slash between them. Wow, I will just tell you that also now. Wait. So in this href, I'll write image, then a slash, and then log.png. Okay. Now let's run this. See, we got an icon over there. Okay. So this is the icon of or the log.png. So this is the icon and the title for our website. Okay. Now let's start with the website. Now I'm going to have a navigation bar or the menu bar first. Okay. So for that, we'll make use of the nav tag. We have already studied the use of the navigation bar, right? So inside the nav, I will make use of the unordered list. Okay. So we know list is of ordered as well as unordered. So for making a menu, we'll always make use of an unordered list. Okay. And inside that, I'll make use of the li, that is the list. Inside the list, I'm going to make use of the anchor tag. Okay. So why? Because on the click of the menu, we are supposed to, some or the other action is supposed to be done, right? So for that, for timing, I'm going to write home, and inside the content or the name which should be displayed in menu is also home. So let's copy paste this. Okay. So in this second one, I'll have news. Okay, let's even change this, news, and the third one will be about or contact us. So here I write contact, and here I'll also write contact. Okay, so the next one is about. Okay, so our navigation bar is ready. Okay, so now let's run this. See, we got it here. So even in the examples which I showed before, we have add this. So now we'll change the decorations of the list or the unordered list now. So for that, we'll make use of the external CSS. Okay. So I have already told you how to create an CSS and where to store it. So we'll first create that. So I'm going to save this CSS, external CSS inside the CSS folder. Okay. So for this also I'm going to write index.css. CSS should be saved with .css extension as we did it for the HTML. Okay. Okay. Now inside this, as I have created a nav tag, first I'll write nav. I'll give some decorations or styling for nav. Okay. For this, I'm going to give the margin for this as 0 pixel. Okay. And the next which I'm going to do is the UL, that is the unordered list. In this, I'm going to change the list type. If you see we have a dot, right? I don't need a dot because in the menus we don't have any dots. So for that, I'm going to first change it, list style. Okay, and I'll write none. Oh no, this is list style type. Okay. Oh yeah, we have not linked it in the edge section. Okay, so inside this link, I'll write link. In the rel, it will be style sheet itself, and in the type, it will be text or CSS. In this href, I'll write CSS / index.css. Okay. Now let's save this and run this. See, the dots have been disappeared. So we have made that the style or the decoration given for this list should be none. Okay, so we are just eliminating the decoration which is given. Okay, so again we are going to give some margins for this, margins and padding for this also. Okay, so I'm going to give the margin as 0 pixel and then the padding as 5 pixel. Okay, and then I'm going to give a overflow as hidden. Okay, and then a background color, I'm going to give it as 333. Okay, now let's see the output. Okay, so see what is happening. We have got a background color. Okay, so there's no overflow. It's really a simplest one of as much as with needed. Okay, so now we are going to even change this li. So what are we going to do? We of course the menu will be in a horizontal line, right? It will be not in a vertical form. So we are going to make it in a horizontal line. So for that we'll make use of the float which we have studied. In this I'll write float left, right? Okay, so in this I've written float left. Let's save this. Okay, see, we got everything in the left. Okay, so whenever we see a website, always the logo is in the left and the menu will be in the right. So now let's change it to right. Okay, okay, and I'm even going to give margin for this also, and our margin for this will be 10 pixel, and then margin right. Okay, we have even studied this. Why is this margin right? Margin right means from right it will move towards the left. So for 0 pixel I am telling, so it should be in the extreme end. Okay, so it's in the extreme end. If you see, it's really in the extreme end. Okay, now let's go for the next one, that is the anchor tag. So let's give some styling for the anchor tag also. So li anchor. So in this I'll write, I want the anchor to be in a block, display block. Okay, we have seen display block, inline block, inline grid, inline table, right? So we have already discussed these topics in the previous videos. If you are not sure about it, just go through those videos. Okay, display block, and I'm going to keep the color as white. Okay, and then I'm going to even align the text to the center. Okay, and let's give some. Okay, first let's see the output. Okay, so see here we got it. Now let's even give some padding for this. Okay, padding of 14 pixel and 16 pixel. Okay, okay, we got a padding, right? It's moving from top and from the left, or sorry, right to left also. So okay, so we got the padding. Now even let's give some see here you can see an underline, right? So we don't need any underline, something like this. Okay, so it's a menu, so it's not a link actually, it's just a navigation bar. So we will even remove this decoration. For that we'll write text decoration as none. Okay, so even that is gone. So this is about the li, that's a list. Now what are we going to do? We are even going to give some over effects. We have even studied that. So when I just take the mouse over the any of these menu, it should change its background color. So let's see that. So for that I'll write li, then space a colon hover. Okay, so inside this I'll write background color as ash 111. Let's see the output. Okay, see, it's changing its color. 111 is basically a black, right? So it's changing its color. If you want, let's even see something else like red for a more clear output. Okay, so you can see it, right? So it's changing its color when it's good, when the mouse is just taken over the element. So this is about the first part or the main part of the website, that is the navigation bar. It is really very important to have an attractive navigation bar, and it should be even really very active. On the click it should really go to the place as it is told to go. So this is all about the navigation bar. Now let's go for the logo of the website. Okay, now we are going to add the logo to our website. We are going to add it to the left side of the website. So, and the next thing is we are going to add it inside the nav tag or the navigation bar itself. So let's go for the coding. So in this, inside the nav tag, I will write a coding for this logo, but not inside the UL. Please do remember, you should write it inside the nav, but not inside the unordered list. Okay, for that I am going to make use of an anchor tag. Okay, in this href I'll just write the ash, because it's a logo. We just don't need it to get linked or just get traversed from one page to another, right? So that's the reason. So class name is logo. Okay, and inside this right company logo. You can even give names like this, or even make use of image as I showed you, right? So you can make use of the image also. So now let's go with this and give some editing to this and make it more attractive. Okay, so let's see this. See, it's here, right? So it's a normal one. So now let's give some attractive things and make it as a logo inside the navigation bar. Okay. In this, I'll write dot logo. I'll change the background color as ash 333. Okay. And from margin, I want it for 10 pixel, right? So 10 pixel. Okay. And padding, let's give it from top. Okay. For 5 pixel. Okay. See here, we got it, right? So it's moving from for margin also as well as from top also for 5 pixel. Okay. And now we'll give a float for this. Okay. We always know an element which is given a float will always be wrapped with the element which is next to that element, right? So this is the element which is given float, and this is the element, or this UL and all are the elements which are next to the float element. So this will be always wrapped with this. So that's the reason we got it like this. Okay. Now after this, we'll give some color for it. Color as white. Okay. And let's align it to the center. Okay. See, the color has been changed to white. Okay. So it's already in a center position itself. Okay. Now let's give some padding for this for 12 pixels. Just padding. Okay. 12 pixel. Okay. See, this padding is for inside part. Okay. Not for the external part. So it got a padding inside from top as well as from the left for 12 pixels. Okay. Now let's even change the text decoration. See, we are having an underline, so it's not a link, it's a logo. So we'll even change that text decoration as none. Okay. So the line would get disappeared. Okay. So now even let's give some change the font size of it, then even the font weight for this also. Okay. So let's give the font size as 25 pixel. So it will be a big, quite large one. And let's give the font weight as bold. I have already told you what is a font weight. It's just telling whether it should be light, lighter, bold, bolder, something like that. We have even seen this. Okay, see, it's very bold, and the width or the height of the size of the font is for 25 pixel. Now let's do some hover effects to this. Okay, so as soon as I take it over the logo, it should give some other, like let's change the color of the background color as well as the color of the logo also. Okay, so for that, first we'll write dot the class name. So I have already told you this selectors also. Dot is for class, hash is for ID, and just an element, then just write the element name, right? So dot logo name and forward. Okay. In this, I'm going to change the background color to DDD, and the color of the logo will also change from white to black. Okay. Okay, so when I take it over, it's changing the color from black to gray, and the content or the logo is changing from white to black. So I hope you got this, right? So now this is how the logo is being inserted. So in the similar way, you can give the image also in this place. Okay, so you can make use of these things and make the logo more clear. Now what are we going to do is that we are going to have a on click like this. When I click on about, it should go down, something like that. Or scroll function is what are we going to give now. Okay, so let's go for that. So when I click on about, the content which is present below or in the website below, we are not going to link it to another page. We can do it. Okay, but now for time being, we'll just link it in the same page, right? We usually know how to link it to the other page. That's just by giving an anchor tag and just giving the path of the file. Now let's see how to scroll the page from top to bottom. For example, this about is in the bottom. So on the click of the above, the page will get scrolled down to the bottom. Okay, with a smooth scroll. Now let's go and for that. Okay, before going on further with scroll, now let's add an image here. Okay, basically why do we use a scroll? That is that when you have a big content or large amount of content in your website, so in that place it's like that, no, on a click of a button or on a click of a link or on click, you should go to only some part of the web page. So in such thing, the actual, see here, the navigation is over here. So the about button indicates that it should be on the click of the about, it should go to that part of the code where the about content is there. So for that, you should always have the content somewhere else which is not or seeable, or which is not being seen over the main part or the upper part, right? So on the click, it should go to some of the other parts which is below, right? So for that, you should always have a content between the click place as well as the actual content place. So without having any data between, then just giving a click or a scroll function is of no use, right? You don't have any data, and giving a scroll for a data is of no use. So I will give some data in between so that you can see the output for scroll, and you can even understand what is the use of the scroll also. Okay, so now let's go for that. So before going for the scroll code, we'll first add an image in our web page. Okay, so I'll add an image in such a way that it should fit the whole width of the web page and some of the other like 500 or 600 pixels height, so that it can be scrollable down. So now let's go in the index.html, out of the nav tag, okay, in the body tag, not inside the nav tag, I'll have an image tag. In the src, I will write image slash web image .jpg. So actually I have this content or this image in my folder. Okay, so that's the reason I'm using this. Okay, now let's run this first. Okay, see, I got an image, right? Now let's give some style properties of width and height for this and make it a white bigger. Okay, for that I'll first give a class name, a simple class name. Okay, and let's give it as image itself. Okay, and in the external CSS, I'm going to give the width and height property. So width will be 100%, and let's give the height as 500 pixel. Okay. Okay, now let's see the output. Okay, see, now we are able to see it. So now even let's make it so a bit bigger so that it will be really more easier to understand. So let's give it as 800. Okay. Now let's run it. Okay, right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an about content below this image or after this image. So on the click of the about button or on the about menu, it will get scrolled, a smooth scroll, and it will go directly to the about content. Okay, now let's go for that part. Okay, so below the div tag, image tag, I will have a tag that is section. Okay, even this section tag has been explained to you before also. Section is used to give a layout to your content in the web page. Okay, like header, footer, aside, article, even section is made of use. So if you remember, I showed you an example where section is there, and inside the section, aside and article, two of the tags are there, right? So that section has section. So separate section consisted that two tags, right? So you can even recap that and understand this. Okay, now I'm going to give an ID to this section, and the ID will be about. Okay, please do remember the href after the hash, whatever you are giving. Here I'm given about, right? So the same name should be there in the ID, or the name which you have given in ID should be in the href. Okay, why is it so? I will tell you with the output. Okay, so for the first thing, just remember this, that this both the names, this about in the href inside the anchor tag and in the ID should be same. Okay, so now let's go inside. So in this I will have a div and I will have a class, give a class name. Okay, so this class name will be about and then a hyphen and then a container. Please do remember, these are the basic programming standards. Okay, always give a relevant naming. Okay, don't give any random names as A B C D X Y Z. No, this is a good programming practice, and all developers should know this. Give a relevant naming. Okay, don't give any of the unrelevant or of like kiddish ones. Okay, so always give something like this, about container or about class, something related to it. Okay, so now let's go inside it. Okay, so inside that I will have another h2 tag. Okay, so in this I will write about us, and even in this I'll give some class also, class name. So I will write about heading. Okay, so now let's run this. Okay, see, I got an heading, right? So this heading is under the section. Now let's give some styling to this section and give some styling to this heading and make it more attractive. So do remember, so this is the first we came up with the nav tag, then the logo, then we added an image, and below the image there's a section. Okay, inside this section we add the heading and we'll even add some content to this. Okay, now let's give some styling to this. Okay, now with the class name dot about container. Okay, so now let's give some color and then some margin properties or font size property, something like that, and make it more attractive. Okay, now first we'll give some give some designing to the about container. Okay, so let's give a background color. Let's give it as cyan. Okay, and then let's give an height for it. Okay, that is 600 pixel. Okay, so this is the output. Okay, so I have given a cyan color to this and with a 600 pixel as height. So we have not specified any width. So by default it will occupy the full width, right? So it is occupied the full width. Okay, so with full width which is available and it has occupied 600 pixel width. Height. Always do remember when I say 600 pixel height and all, it will always start from the top, this top, okay, and not from the above one. Okay, so now let's give some heading to the styles to the heading also. Okay, so for that I have given the class name as dot about heading. Okay, so inside this we'll give some color for this heading or some other color. Okay, and this because black is a by default one, right? So and we'll align it to the center and then we'll even bring it towards some a bit down or something like that, and we'll give some styling to it. So now let's start with the color. I would like to give it as white. Okay, and then let's align it to the center. Okay, and even let's give padding from the top. Okay, and let's give it a 30 pixel. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, see, it's a white color and it's 30 pixel padding is being given from top also. Okay, so this is how it's done, right? So I have even give some styling to the heading also. Now what we'll do, we'll add some content over here, then we'll add some celebrity images, then we'll do an hover styling also and even enhance it more. So now let's go further. So I'll add a dummy content. Okay, so for that, see, inside this div tag I will have an p tag, that is a paragraph tag, and let me give the class as about content. Okay, so inside this I'm going to give some dummy content. So for that dummy content I've already kept it ready. See, in the Google search for dummy content, and the first one when you go in for that, and it is a bit slow. Okay, so I would like to see these all are the dummy contents. Okay, so I'll just copy paste this thing in the p tag. Okay, so now let's save this and run this. Okay, see, we got in some of the other content. Okay, now let's even give some designing to it and let's add some interesting tags which will give some styling to any specific element, something like that. Okay, now let's give first styling to the old content. Okay, so I have already given the class name as about content. Now let's give some styling to it. So for that I'll write the class name with the selector, that is the dot about content. Okay, so inside the curly braces let's change the color of it. Okay, I'll change it to FFF. Okay, and even let's give some margin left and right and all. So from margin left I want it for 20 pixel and for margin right also I want it for 20 pixel. Okay, and let's give some font size and let's give it for 16 pixel. Okay, and then let's have change the font family. So by default the font family is always Times New Roman. So now let's make it as sans serif and see, now if you would have noticed, see, it's very close by words, then the spacing between the word is very, very close, and even in the between both the lines. So even let's give some styling for that. So I'll give line, sorry, it's not spacing, it's line height. Okay, so line height I'll give it as 30 pixel. Okay, and so now first let's see the output for this. Okay. Okay, see, I've given 30 pixel, right? That's the reason it's giving some or the other color over here. This color is not so visible, so let's change it to red. Okay, I hope you got this, right? So see here, there's the line or the space between two lines has been increased because we have given line height as 30 pixel. Now let's even give spacing between the words. Okay, so for that also we have a property that is word spacing. So in this I will give 3 pixels. So as it's a word, we don't need so much of gap, right? So let's give 3 pixels. So see, we got a neat one. So see, when you look at this and the one without giving any style, that a bit look like very clumsy, but when we are giving some line height, then we are giving some spacing between the words, something like that, it gives a neat look for the website. So always go on with this or try with these things. And as I gave white, see, it was not very suitable. So keep on changing the colors, see which will be suitable. So do something or else and make it really more attractive. Now what we'll do, we'll make, I have already taught you about the B, that's a bold tag, italic tag and all, right? Now even let's make use of something like that. The other two tags which I have already mentioned, but we have not seen any examples, I hope so. So let's see that. For now, we'll make use of the two tags, that is span and mark. So span is also made use to give a special style to any one word or any some or the other content. Okay. So now let's make use of that. So for time being or for now, we'll give a span in, let's go for, okay, let's give it for 1960s. Okay, so I'll have a span tag next just before it. Okay, and I will even close that. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to give some style. So style, I will give it as an inline style itself. Okay, so style, and I'll give some font size as let's give it as 22 pixel. Okay, then let's change the font family. Okay, and let's make it as monospace. Okay, please do remember, font family does not only reflect the letters or the words like typesetting industry, but it always even reflects the numbers also. Okay, even numbers has these fonts, right? So it will even reflect in numbers also. Okay, so I've even given the font family. Now let's even give some color. Okay, I would like to give color as, okay, let's give 000. Okay, now let's save this and run this. You would be looking, or you will be able to see this 1960s in some or the other different way. Okay, see, right, it's in a black color, and if you see, these all are of Times New Roman, but this has been a monospace. Okay, you can see even the change, right? Why we make use of this? To tell the user or the one who is reading it that this is something important. Like if you would have noticed in some of the websites where they tell about their industry, they always tell that it was established in so and so year, it was marketed, or it was even widely used on so and so years. That year or that month will be highlighted. Sometimes it will be like that, some of the other special characters there in the industry which made them very popular, even those things will be highlighted. So for that you can make use of this, or else we can even make use of another tag, that is mark. I have shown you an example of mark, I think so. It will highlight that word. Now this is 1960s, right? The same way, let's highlight some of the other word. Okay, now let's highlight the first word itself, the lorem. Okay, so now let's highlight it with the help of the mark. For this you don't need any styling, okay, or normal styling. See, I will just add the mark tag. Okay. Okay, let's do it still here. Okay. Now what will happen is the lorem ipsum, these two words will be highlighted in yellow color. If you would have seen or made use of highlighters, as soon as you highlight, there will be a color, right? It's like a background color. So you'll have a background color for this as yellow. By default, it will always have a yellow color. Okay. Okay. See, you got it as a yellow color. So even the color for the font or the text also change. This is a by default or basic styling which is already given by default. Okay, so the color has been changed to yellow. You can even change this color to red, the background color. I have already told you this is the background color. So now let's give some styling to this. So this is a mark, right? Now I don't need any class name or ID name. I have already told you, if you want to give some styling to a specific element, then you can directly give that element name, right? So just make use of that element name, mark, curly braces, and then I'll write the background color as red, but already we have it in red, right? So we'll make it as blue. Okay, and the color of the text will change it as FFF. Okay, now let's save this and run this. See, now this is in a blue color as if it is highlighted, right? Normally we do this highlighting and this highlighting, both looks the same. Okay, so now this is in highlighted and this has been changed the color to white. Okay, so this is how we make this content more highlighted. So to make some of the other specific content to get highlighted, we can make use of such tags also. We can even make use of the bold tag or the italic tag, something or else. So now even let's give an italic tag for this 1960s. So it will be really very good to see that. Okay, so inside the span I'll write I. Okay, let's even close it. So even this will be in italic now. Okay, so this is how you can make some or the specific content or specific word in full content to be getting highlighted. So when a user just goes up and down and just scrolls it, he will be always coming to know, no, something is highlighted. Not so let's read it, right? So that's really important when you create a website. So this is how you highlight it. Now let's go for the scroll thing. Okay. So before going for the scroll, I will tell you why I made this ID, why I told you to keep the ID and the href as the same. So I told you that the ID, the name in the ID and the name in the href should be same. Why? Basically what happens is that when you click on the about button, we are instructing it that there will be something or else some or the other tag which has the ID as about as same, right? So this about and this about is same. So we are telling it basically that there is an ID about in the content or in the website below or above somewhere. So directly go to that place. So that's the reason we are telling to keep both the things same. So the name which is over here will match with the name which is coming after it or before it as our coding, right? So and search for that same ID and then it will go to that place. It's a very millisecond work. Okay, so it just goes on done in background. You just need to write it really very correctly. Don't even make some mistake in the spellings also. Don't even write it like A-B-O-T. Okay, even the U matters, right? The name, both the names should be same. Then it will directly go to that place. That's the reason it's so. Now let's click on the about button and see whether it's scrolling or not. Okay, so first let's click on the about button. Okay, see, now if you would have noticed, it is directly catching the from here and it's directly throwing you to that position. So you can even make here a smooth scroll in the sense normally you make the scroll, right? So from here it's a smooth scroll. This scroll is a smooth scroll. Even you can make this automatically with the help of a scroll. So for that I will just make use of a universal selector. So as it's a universal selector, we'll always start it in the top. Okay, start curly braces. Inside this I will write scroll behavior smooth. So when I say smooth scroll, that means that you should not just throw the place where normally what happened now, it just directly took you to that place, right? Now it will give you a scroll here. See how it is. Okay, you saw it? It's like you are scrolling in the mouse. With the help of a mouse, when you scroll, it will be really very smooth. It will go very smoothly, right? So that's happening over here. On the click of the about, it's going down with a smooth scroll. So this is how you make a smooth scroll also. So this will be even helpful. When you feel that no multi-pages, I don't want any multi-page, I just need a single page, then you can really make use of this, okay? For this, you just need to write the code inside the section and you should give an ID which is same as the name which is in the href. Okay, so that's a two important thing. Always you can make this. Okay, this will be useful when you just feel no, only one page is needed. I don't need multi pages. Okay, so this is how you can make this. Now inside this we'll give some image, a silhouette, and even will give an over effect to this. Now let's go for that. Now let's go for the coding. Okay, so in the index.html, below the p tag, I will have the image tag. Okay, in this the src I am already having an silhouette image, so we'll make use of that itself. Image slash man silhouette dot png. Okay, so this is the name. Okay, so first we'll see whether I'm getting it. Okay, see, this is the image, this is a silhouette image. So now what are we going to do is we are going to give an over effect over here. So let's start with it. So before going with the start, let's place this image properly. Okay, so in the index.css, okay, first let's give a class name for this. So in the class I will write, okay, I will write it as let's take it as image man. Okay, okay, now let's start with the styling. Okay, so as I've given the class name, so we'll write it dot image man. Okay, so first let's give an display it in a block. Okay, so always keep in mind whether it's enough for use of a block or not. Try to give this block as a basic one, so it will be really, even it will not make any mess up when you're doing some other changes, right? So block is a normal one, so there will be no any disturbance in it. So that I have displayed it as a block. Then let's give an width as 250 pixel, and I would even like to give the height as 200 pixel. Okay, I've saved this. Now let's run this. Okay, so I got it right. So let's even give margin left, so that, or let's give okay, let's give it as margin left. So okay, and I'll write it as 100 pixel. Okay, so we got it in the left also. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is on the edge over, on taking the mouse over the image, the image should get zoomed. Okay, so for that I will go for an over effect. So again the class name image man, then a colon and over. Okay, so inside this I will write transform scale, and inside this I'll write 1.6. That's what I'm doing is that, for example, the scale is by default 1. Okay, so I'm telling that from 1 you need to change the scale to 1.2. That is, you mean to zoom it. So I'm telling from this to that. So I'm saying to transform from the oldest value, that is 1, to the new value, that is 1.2. That's the reason it is transformed. So the property name is transform, and what we are supposed to transform, the scale, the by default one is 1, right? So from 1 I'm telling it to change to 1.2. So transform scale for 1.2. So now let's see the output. Okay, you can see it's zoom. So even in this you can see it's directly taking you to 1.2, right? As we saw it for the scroll. As soon as you click on the about, it will directly throw you towards the about content, right? So you can even give some slow, or as we did for a smooth, even such concept can be made use here also. For that we'll make small editing in this. Okay, here we'll write it as transition transform dot 2s. So now let's see. Okay, see it's slowing down, right? Before going for it, it was like just throwing you, right? Let's cut this and see the output again. Okay, it's just popping up very fast, okay, or very harsh, right? So when you give that transition transform, we are saying that go slower for 0.2 seconds. Okay, so I'm telling it no, you should go slow, so it's going for slow. So you can even make it more slow. The more slow you want, increase this number from 0.2. So now let's give it as 0.6. Okay, so it's really very slow. So you can even see, you would have seen this, right? When you see an image in many of the websites, as soon as you take it over, it gets zoomed in and some of the other content gets displayed, right? So that's yeah, this is the basic coding or basic concept behind it. You just need to add this too. You are saying it, you should transform your size from 1 to 1.2, and while doing the transform, you are supposed to be slow for 0.6 seconds, right? So this is the just two things which you are supposed to add for an over effect and just to zoom, right? You can easily identify or remember this as a zoom effect. Okay, for this zoom you need to know transition and transform. Okay, so transform is transforming from one to other, and transition is saying that that transform should be for 1.6 seconds slow. It should be a smooth transform, that should zoom in really very smoothly and not very harshly. Okay, so I hope you got this. So this is the over effect. So I have even taught you of zoom. So some of the other new concept, I think so, which I have not showed you an example, right? So this is how you can zoom the image. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next part, that is the news. Okay, now we are done with the home. So now we'll go for the news. In the news also, we'll first have the basic functionality of the scroll as we add for the home, and we'll add some new functionalities also. Okay, I have taught you about the two grid layouts as well as three grid layouts, right? So now in this news, we'll make use of that two grid layout. Okay, so now let's go. Okay, so inside this index, I will have another section. As I have already told you, always make use of a new section for a scroll. Okay, so in the ID, please check what you have written in the href for news. So I have written news itself. Okay, so I'll go for news. Okay, now inside this, I will have a div tag. Okay, and I will give a class name as row. This is the same syntax which I have even showed you in the layout video. Okay, please don't get mixed up or get confused. This both are the same. Okay, so div class, and inside that I'll make use of another div, and I'll give the class name as column. Okay. Okay, so inside this I'm going to have an heading. Okay, and in the heading I'll write mobile 1. Okay, and inside this after the mobile 1, I'm having an image already, so I will make use of that image over here. Okay, so for that, before going for this, I will even have another div tag inside this. Okay, okay, so this image and another paragraph which I'm going to write will be inside the div tag itself. Okay, so I already have an image. So the name of the image is mob1 dot, I think, jpg. Okay, now for this div I'm going to give a class name, and the class is container. Okay, and for this image I'm going to give another class name, and the class name is mobile image. So the same will be small. Okay, mobile image. Okay, so in short, img. Okay, so inside this I'm going to have a content. Okay, so for that I will have a p tag. Okay, so even for this I will give the class name as content. Okay, for the content, now just a dummy content, right? So you just copy paste this as it is. Okay, so I'll write it inside the p tag. Okay, so here is the first part of the row, that the first column is ready. Okay, before going for this, we will add a heading after the section tag. So it will be an overall heading as we gave for about us, right? The about us was an heading. So here also will give an heading. So for that we'll make use of h2 tag, and in this I will write let's news, and news of comparing mobiles. Okay. Okay, so even let's create the second tag also, so that it will be really very easy. So for that, first I'll copy paste the same. Okay, so in this mobile 2, this container will be the same. I'll change the image. Okay, so there's no need for this row. Okay, so we'll just remove this row as well as the closing for this row. Okay, so because it's coming inside. Okay, so both the rows are, both the columns are inside the row. So if you see, it will be really very clear. Okay, so the image, I have changed the image name. So content is, rest all are the same. So this is the column 2 and this is the column 1. Okay, so now let's save this and run this first. Okay, so if you see, we got it. Now we'll give some styling or some style properties to this and we'll make it as a 2 column 1. Okay, so here I'm not getting the image. Now let's see what I've done mistake. mob1 and mob2.jpg. Okay, I have not written the slash image, right? Yeah, image and a slash. Okay, please don't do these mistakes as I did. Then again image slash mob. Okay, okay, so we got the image, right? Okay, so now let's give some styling and bring it in a 2 column grid layout. Okay, now let's go to the index.css. Okay, inside this I'll write dot column. Okay, inside the curly braces. Now if you remember, even in that example we gave it as float left. Even in this we'll give it as float left. Okay, so the contents will be the main content for the column will be in the left and the rest of the upcoming elements will be wrapped around it towards the right. So that's a basic meaning. Okay, so now let's give some width for it as 50%. Okay, and let's even give some padding for this. Okay, so just a padding. Okay, so I'll give it as 10 pixel. Okay, and let's even give some height for this as 400 pixel. Okay, okay, so I think we got the width, right? So this is the width of 50 pixel. Okay, now let's go for the next one. That is, we'll write dot row and a colon and a after. Okay, then inside the curly braces we'll write content as, okay, this, and we'll display it as table. Okay, and then clear both. So if you have noticed, I didn't make use of this in the last example. Okay, so even if you don't make use of it, it's okay, but it will be useful when you have some contents or functions which should be happening after that. So if you don't have anything after that, then just ignore it. But now for time being, I'm going to write it because this news will be followed with the contact page or contact details also, and as well as with the footer also. So for safety purpose I'm writing this. If you don't have any followed details, then there's no need for writing it. Okay, and the next one, what we are going to write, so see here we have written content as empty, display in table, and clear both. Okay, so the next one is that dot mobile image. Okay, and inside the curly braces we'll write margin, and I'll give out 20 pixel. Or okay, I think it's a spelling mistake. Okay, okay, and in this I will write the height as 250 pixel, and I'll even give the width as 250 pixel. Okay, so this is for the mobile image. So you see the changes we got, and margin. So the margin is when you just write margin, it's that you should move from top to down as well as from left to right. And I even give some width and height for the image. So it's changing, right? Okay. Now let's go to the next one. That is the content. Okay. So we gave some designing for the old column, then we gave a designing for the row. So and inside the row we add an image, for that also we gave. Now let's go for the content which is there inside the column. So dot content. Okay, so for this also I will give margin as 25 pixel. Okay, then the width will be of 300 pixel, and the color I'm going to change it to white. Okay, it's by default black. Okay, so now we are not able to see it because the background color has been something, it's really plain, right? I'll give some background color to this and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so in the index dot this, see in the p tag or in the div tag, let's write it in the div tag itself. Okay, so that it will be, okay, in this I'll write style background color as ash a. Okay, so this is second column, so let's give it as BBB. And for the first column, let's just copy paste this. Okay, and in this div tag I will give it, and I'll write it as a. Okay, so this is done. Okay, now let's see the output. Okay, we got it right. Now see here, it's just getting overlapped because we are not yet fixed with the positions, so it's not a big issue. So even the mob 1 is not getting the color, so let's write it in the column place. We'll write it in the second div tag itself. Let's change the style from here to there. Okay, so the basic concept here is just the so the basic concept here is that just the main heading should be out, rest all should be inside the column itself. Okay, so we got it. Okay, now let's go further. So we are done with the content, right? So now let's go for the container. So as we saw, it's getting overlapped and all, right? Now let's give some display property for it. Okay, so display inline, not block this time, but this time flex. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, see, this display inline flex is for this. So what I've told that the mobile is already up, right? And this, the image as well as the content or the p tag should be adjacent to both. So for that I'm writing an inline flex. Flex means which is adjacent to both, right? So inline flex in same line. So to bring this in the same line, the first mobile and the second mobile, if you remember in that example also we did this. In the universal selector we'll write box sizing as border box. Okay, see, so this is a universal selector, and let it be in any case it should be like this only. So this is a command. Okay, so if you see, we have made use of the inline flex for the image and for the content, and for the all we have made use of the border box. Okay, so this is the news part with which we have done earlier also, that is the two column. Where is this used? If you see, we are comparing two mobiles over here, the mobile 1 and mobile 2. And even if you would have seen in many shopping websites, they always have this in the form of a discount or an offer 1, offer 2, 50% off, 30% off. This is always in a tabular format or in a box format. In such place this can be used. So even this represents in a very nice and a beautiful way. Even in representing your images or a gallery or some picnic images, something like that, you can even make use. Why are we making use? This will be in an even format. Okay, it will be not big, small, width will be big, height will be big, nothing. Okay, it will be in a very even and a very common one. That's why it's told as two equal columns of grid layout, right? So we even saw two unequal columns also. So this is the main use of the two equal columns. So this will be useful when you want to compare or when you want to see we have made use this image as well as the content. So in such a places it will be really useful so that people could even see the image, then the content also. If it's a comparison, they can directly compare the sentence. Oh yeah, here this is the advantage, here this is not the advantage, here such some other thing is the advantage, but here it is not so. The image is like that, the mobile is looking so. So in such places you can use it. So even in the news articles, if you would have seen in a newspaper, it's always in columns, right? But they are always in unequal columns. So the same fund is over used also here. Okay, so this is the news part. So now we will check for the scroll. Okay, so even the scroll is working properly, a smooth scroll. Okay, so when you are making use of a single page, make use of the scroll, this two equal columns, this articles, a side, each and everything. Make use of these things and make your website more presentable. Now let's go to the next part of our website, that is the contact. Okay, now for contact, for time being, I'll just show you an embedded Google map. I have already taught you about this embed, right? So now we'll see it in practice. Okay, so embed and Google map from the online, and we'll make use of that map and we'll just share a location. Okay, we'll just take any random location. For that, I've already opened and Google, and I have searched for a random Blue Diamond hotel in Pune. Okay, so now how are we going to embed this? For this, first you are supposed to click on the share. See, I'm taking it directly from the Google map itself. Okay, from the online, click on the share. Okay, and you don't need to do in the first send a link and nothing. You should go for an embed a map. So what are we doing here is we are telling that we are basically doing that we will embed the full map. This full map will be embedded in a web page. Okay, so for that I'll just embed this map. I've already mentioned this iframe. With the help of this iframe, we can embed even YouTube videos. Yes, I have already mentioned this. So with the same way, the same procedure, we are going to even embed the Google map. So I'll copy this HTML. So click on the copy HTML and then go to your code. So directly place it where you want to. So for example, now we already are creating sections, right? Because we are giving a scroll function over here. So first let's create the section for contact, and ID will be contact. Okay. Now inside this, I'm going to give an iframe, right? So if you see, you don't need to write any code. You just need to copy this and paste it over here. Okay. So we got it. So what is this code doing? It is embedding an Google map of that certain location from the online. Okay, so we have directly embedded it without doing anything. We have just copy pasted the link. Okay, so it's having the src, frame border, style of allow full screen. This everything is nothing done by ourselves. It's automatically done. So now let's save this and run this. Okay, now I'll click on contact so that let's see whether this is scrolling. Yeah, that's a smooth scroll. See, here we got the map embedded, right? So it's really very clear. Now let's even give a width for it. Okay. So for this, I'll make use of the external CSS which we have, and I'll just give the element name, that is iframe. Okay. And let's give the width as 100%. Okay, so we got it, right? So for this, you even need an active internet, else it will be not so clear, or it will not even get displayed. Okay, so with the help of this, we have even embedded an image map also. So even in the prior one, we were not able to see an iframe or embed one, but here we even saw this. Okay, so this will be helpful for context. So it's a basic just for practice purpose, right? So I've just given an embedded map over here, so they will get the location, that where is this place located or something like that. So this is about the contact. So even it's getting scrolled as we saw now. Yes. So now let's go for the next part, that is the footer. So for the footer, as we made use of the 2-column grid layout in the news, we'll make use of 3-column grid layouts in the footer. Okay, we'll have some of the links which will be useful for you, and then the address part, and then even the follow links. Okay, now let's go for that. And this footer will make use of the three columns, right? So 3-column grid layout, and let's see how it works. So I hope you understand still now, and I hope you understood this embed. So in the same way, you can even embed the YouTube videos also. In the same way, you are supposed to go to the YouTube, and in that you will even again able to see the share, then go for the embed option and then copy this. Even in that you will get this iframe link only, you will not get anything else. This iframe is the constant for embedding, so even in that you will get this iframe only. So make use of it, and if you like to include any videos in your web page, then even include that. So I think you would have noticed this Google Maps and website, or you website which has YouTube links. Okay, so make use of this idea and even make this possible. Okay, now let's go for the footer part. So as I have already told you, I'm going to make use of the 3-column grid layout. Okay, so in this, after the iframe, I will create a div tag of with class as row or column row. Oh, sorry, contact row, because we already have a row, right? So contact row. Okay, inside this row, I will create another one that's with the class as column. Okay, so this is the same thing which we are going to do, which we did for the 2 also. Okay, then again the column. Okay, now let's even give this as 2, or let's give it as contact column. Okay, so now inside this contact, the first contact, what I'm going to write in the first column is that the quick links. Okay, so let's start with that. Okay, so for having a quick link, let's have a head first, and in that I'll write quick links. Okay, so in this I'll even give the background color. Okay. Okay, now what is a quick link? Actually, if you have noticed in few of them, they have the menu in the below part also, so that when you click on the menu, you can just go to that, as we did the section, just giving a scroll to upper parts, right? So it's the same thing. So for that we make use of this quick roll. Okay, so in this I'll make you create an unordered list. Okay, and inside the unordered I'll have an ordered list. Okay, so and I will give the class name as links. Okay, and the anchor tag also for this. In this href, I'll again write the same thing which we wrote for the menu, that is ash home, and then the content will be home. Okay, let's copy paste this, or let's copy paste the thing which we already have. Okay, so we have this, right? Just copy paste this. Okay, and the only difference over here is that we'll add a class inside this links. Okay, so this should be done in each and every list. Okay, so this is done. Okay, so now let's first see the output. It's just got in order. Okay, the quick links. Now we'll give some styling to this, and then this will be get changed. Okay, now let's go for the styling part. Okay. Okay, so now we'll give some styles to this class. Okay, dot links. Okay, and inside the curly braces I will write list style type as none. Okay, and another one which you are going to do is that links comma anchor. Okay, the A tag. For that I'll say I don't want any decoration, so that text decoration as none. Okay, okay. Okay, so the basic things which which would have like an anchor tag and all, which just went off. Now let's go to the second thing. Now what are we going to add? In the second column. Okay, so this was the first, this was a row, this was a column. So the second column, let's go for the second column, and let's give the class name as again contact column style and the background color as ash BBB. Okay. Okay, and in this I will have a heading of H2, and this will have this is just an address, right? So street, let's give it as 4, then a comma, then let's take it as New York. Okay, we should have some logic, so let's take it as Pune because we have embedded the map of Pune. Okay, then let's have another P tag, and let's have a number or a contact. Okay, so let's like mob. Okay, so in this I'll write 91, and then let's give a cat, then let's give 9. Okay, so we have made use of all numbers, okay, from 9 to 0. So this is the column. So this is the second column. Now let's go to the third column. Before going on, let's even see the output. How is it? Okay, so it has just come below the first column. Okay, now let's go to the second one. Oh, sorry, the third one. Okay, so this is the third column, and I'll give the class name again as contact column. Okay, then we'll give a style of background color as ash CCC. Okay, then we'll give an here, now not an heading, now we'll again have an unordered list, and inside the unordered list we have a list. Now what are we going to give in the third column is we are going to give some follow links. So here we are going to make use of the SVG concept. Okay, if you would have remembered, in the SVG we created a circle, rectangle and all. Now with the help of the same SVG tag, we are going to even embed some icons for our follow links for Facebook, like Facebook, Twitter or YouTube, Instagram. So from among the many of the social medias, we are just going to embed 3 of them. Okay, so let's go on for the first one. So for the first one, let's first give the class name also, and the class name which I will give is social. Okay, okay, so what are we going to embed inside this? Okay, so for that, first let's have an anchor tag. In this href I'll have an hash. Okay, I'm not going to link it to anywhere. So between this, both the closing and the opening anchor tag, I'm going to have an svg tag. So for that, first you are supposed to get the links for this svg icons. So I have already opened an link over here, which has, see, svg icons are freely available over the internet, so you can download them or you can even embed them like this. So let's start with the Facebook. Okay, so this is the Facebook icon. So as soon as I click on it, see, I got an code, first code. So this code, this is the svg tag, right? So I will just copy paste this, okay, and write it between the anchor tag. Okay, okay, so this is the first step. Then the second step is that you should even do some editing in your css file also. For that, see, you add this css style properties, just copy paste them in your css file. So these all are the ready-made code which you have which are available over the internet. Make use of them. Okay, just understand what is there. So these are the class name. They are giving a width of 1 em is like a pixel. I have already told you, and we have even seen an example. So we are giving a path. The path is again a tag, which is sorry, yeah, it's a tag which is used, right? So svg, the class name. View box means how it should look, or how much part of the icon should look, whether it should look 20% or full icon should be visible or only half. So that will say the view box, and we know the path and all the fill also. So there's no need of explaining this. Okay, so that's what it is here. So we have even seen about the rectangle, the circle, in each and everything. We have made these images, right? So basic concept is that only. Okay. So I have even copy pasted this, right? Okay, if you see, I'm able to see a Facebook icon over here. So this is my first list. So I'm even going to add 2 more of them. Okay, so let's even make some changes over here. So my first list is ready. Now let's go for the second list. Okay, Even this will have the same class name, social. And inside this I will have an anchor tag which hrefs as ash. Okay. And inside this I'm going to again go for another SVG icon. Now let's go for, okay, now let's go for the Twitter. Okay. So it's a quite big one. So I'll just copy paste first this SVG. Okay, we got it, right? So there's no need for copying the CSS again because it's already the same. So if you see, they have the same thing. So there's no need even if you don't do it. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so I've copied this. Okay, let's save this and run this. Okay, see, along with the Facebook, we even got a Twitter. Now let's go for the third icon. Okay, now let's go for Instagram. Okay, now let's again copy paste this. So the CSS file, the code which we just copy pasted in CSS, you just need to copy paste it once. Okay, there's no need to copy paste it 3 times because we are making use of 3 icons. No such logic is needed over here. Okay, so you just need to copy paste it once. Okay, and inside the anchor tag again an hash, and in this I'll write the SVG code. Okay, so this is the first thing which we have done. Now what are we going to do here is, see, first let's see the output. So that's really very important so that you can understand it. I'm so sorry. Okay, we got all the 3 icons. Now as we did for the 2 column equal grid layout, now we'll even do it for the 3 columns. So now let's go for it. Now let's give some styling for it. Okay, now let's give the styling for the 3 column grid layout. Okay, so for this, the column name or the class for the column and the row is contact row and contact column. Okay, so now let's go dot contact column. Okay, inside the curly braces again we'll write float left. So these are the same thing which we have done. Okay, the only change is that, and for the 2 equal we wrote it as width as 50%. Now we'll write 33.33%. I even showed you this, right? Just the 1.1% is going somewhere, so it's okay. Then the padding of 10 pixel. Okay, and then let's give an height of 200 pixel. Okay. Now let's even go for the row after. I've already told you there's no need if you don't have any other content after that. So we'll not give that row after. Okay. So this is all about the column. Now let's give some editing to the social that we have made use of. Okay. And even we'll give some editing to the links present in it. I think we have already done. So now let's give the editing for the style for the social itself. Dot social. Okay, I write display. I want it to be in the inline block. Okay, and the list style type. Okay, again none. So this is the, if you notice, we have already done these codes in for the 2D column also. So just copy paste those things. Okay, the only change is this width. Okay, it was 50 pixel for the 2 column, and for 3 it's 33.33. We have already done these all concepts in depth, and I've even explained you everything in the prior videos, right? So just go through it if you didn't got anything. Okay, so and even these codes are even available in Google also. So please even refer these things and understand it more better. Okay. Okay. See, if you notice, I got it. Okay. The problem is here that I got the styling which I gave for the navigation bar also. Okay. So that's not a big issue. Okay, you can even edit it or remove it or give some other naming for the classes and just remove them all. So this is the basic thing. Okay, so if you would have noticed here, it is really a bit neat. So as much as more styling you give it or more blocks you display it and more tabular way you display it, the content will be really very neat. Okay. always try to present it in a very presentable way and make use of more columns, give some spacing. So this spacing was better than this, and some may feel this is really very better than this, because if you see, this is a pictorial which is coming really very closer and very continuous. I would prefer such things, right? I really prefer such things. Okay, so try think a new, think bit. So that's the reason I showed you both. I didn't give any break over here to show you this difference only. So see, when it is a continuous one, it gives another look, and when there's a break, it gives another look. It totally depends on the developer, and sometimes it even depends on the user. I've already told you even this point. Please think even in the user's perspective. You also be a user after being a developer. Develop your think and think as a user. Okay, sit in front of your developed code or in your website and think what can be enhanced or what is disturbing you as a user, and think to enhance yours. Okay, so we have made use of everything: the nav tag, logo, icon, then these even the section, and I even told you about the scroll, the new type, the footer, the 3 column, 2 column, and we have even studied for or seen a live example for embed. You can even embed the YouTube. So this is how you make a simple, a clean and a neat website.